Good afternoon, gentlemen, and welcome back to all the delegates, ladies and gentlemen, who are witnessing the APAC BFSI Finnovation Conclave over the last couple of days. The APAC today is a day two of the conclave, and over yesterday and today we had a presence of 60 plus tech decision makers from different sectors of BFSI participating and deliberating on various aspects of technology deployment in BFSI segment. Yesterday morning, we had an inaugural session where the UP Finance Secretary, the Reserve Bank of India Innovation Hub CTO, the GST and Enterprise Architecture Head talked on the policy level. We had different panel discussion of private banks, PSU banks, separate session on the cooperative banks, one separate session on insurance companies, one separate session on cryptocurrency. And similarly, today we had sessions with NBFCs, we had a session on the fintechs, we had a session on security in BFSI amongst the CISOs. So now this panel is a very important factor we would like to discuss on. It's around compliance in BFSI. With BFSI being such a heavily regulated industry, compliance we know is critical. So before I introduce the panelists, it's my pleasure to mention the industry partners without whose support doing a conclave of this magnitude might not have been possible. I'd like to thank our digital transformation partner Avaya, security partner Fortinet, gold partner Crestron, language translation partner Devnagari, associate partner MapMy India, active intelligence partner Click, as well as associate partner Choice Solutions. So now it's my pleasure to introduce the panelists to the discussion. We have with us today Mr. S.V. Sunder Krishnan. He is a chief
Thank you.
risk officer at Reliance Nippon Life Insurance. Welcome, Mr. Sunder.
Thank you.
We have with us Mr. Dhanasekaran Sivaraj. He is the CTO of Belstar Microfinance. Welcome, Mr. Dhanasekaran.
Thank you. Good afternoon, all.
Good afternoon. We have with us Lalit Rout, the CTO of Orange Retail Finance. Welcome, Lalit.
Good afternoon to all my viewer and all the media partner, whoever is there. So thank you all.
Sure. And we have with us Vivek Madan, Head IT and Operations of Hero Housing Finance. Welcome, Vivek.
Hi, everyone, and good afternoon to all the audience. Thank you so much.
And in between, we will have Shashank from ECGC also joining in. So I'd like to start with you, Sunder. My first question, since this topic is around compliance, in a heavily regulated sector like BFSI, the compliances are ever changing. They are also changing very fast. So now for the BFSI organizations, how can digital technologies help in conforming to these fast changing compliances? And this is specifically applicable again to the last 2 years when the operations of BFSI even had to undergo some changes during the pandemic. So the compliances also keep on changing. How can digital technologies help in conforming to these compliances? Sundar.
Yeah. So my solution is with respect to insurance industry in specific. Of course, generically also digital technologies have helped compliances in the form of instant KYC recognition, especially Aadhaar and other means of instant recognition of a person. Also, digital onboarding. You have a video, you have a camera, you record. So things have become more dynamic. Your customers are on the move, and your sales staff is able to catch the customer on the move. The technologies, digital technologies, are also on the move, and they have enabled compliance is in a far ahead in terms of advanced KYC, in terms of advanced underwriting, in terms of better digital display of information, in terms of analysis available digitally, real time. And so the advancement in technology, advancement in compliances, advancement in reaching out to the customer and getting granular information about customer, data of the customer, etc. have gone up. And the digital technologies have enabled this. So right from KYC process, anti-money laundering process, enablement process, analytic process, ratio, and also advanced forecasting, advanced technical analysis, advanced fundamental analysis, digital technologies have helped a lot. And so more and more digital technologies are also coming to comply with various norms, video-based compliance, audio-based compliance, and advanced medical compliance. You have gadgets through which you can take out medical reports instantly. An heartbeat can be noted with a 1 centimeter device. So that kind of IoT perpetration has helped compliances. In the forecasting that we do in a country like ours, we had problems in recognizing where the customer is. But with the digital technologies, we're able to exactly predict where our investigators are, where the customers are. We're able to see the customer. We're able to translate customers' requirements more faster. So definitely, I see it as an advancement. There are, of course, threats, information security threats, but the advantages, but the benefits are far more than the threats that are there, the security glitches that are there. There are tools again to overcome those mitigations or risks of glitches and problems that are there in digital technology or advancement. So I would say definitely it has ushered in a new era. It has brought up digital compliances to the next level. You are in fact posting returns to the regulators online now. Most regulators have opened up this channel also. So online compliances are there, electronic returns are there, and there is faster, speedier, and more accurate compliances.
Thank you. Thank you. So, taking this question further, I'll come to you, Mr. Dhanasekaran. My question is Sunder mentioned about even the tools. Uh, Tools is one part of it. My question to you is how are BFSI organizations in evolving newer standard operating procedures for doing things like addressing risks, mitigation of challenges, offering resolutions, specifically in this new normal kind of situation? Uh, how are these SOPs evolving in BFSI organizations? Anna Sekar.
Yes, yes, Rajneesh. We are in a digital era now, and we are slowly entering into the Web 3.0. And the technology is evolving very fast. People are witnessing how the technology helps them to improve their lifestyle as well as the productivity in their day-to-day life. For example, people we are all are using Uber, Swiggy, and various technology enabled services and then product. So people have witnessed and then experienced the power of digital technologies in their normal day-to-day life. So when they come to the workplace, they are expecting a similar kind of a digital enablement to assist in their official work and to increase their productivity. Similarly, they can try to offer much better customer experience to their customer. So when the expectations and then the experience changes because of the deployment of a newer technology, it always comes with the associated risk. And that is where the compliance also helps to identify and mitigate those risks and manage those things. And SOPs plays a better role on how to mitigate and then set up a very standard framework for the entire workforce to adopt and then provide a seamless and uniformed services across the platform irrespective of geographical location. For example, in Belstar, we operate more than 18 states. and our workforce, they spread across all these locations. So with a better and standardized SOPs with the adequate digital technologies, we are able to provide uncompromised solutions and services to the our customer.
Thank you. Thank you. One point here from there I'll take as I go to Lalit for the next question. Dhanasekaran mentioned about customer experience. So enhancing customer experience, that's a challenge for all BFSI organizations, be it a bank or an insurance company or an NBFC or even a fintech who is customer facing. Enhancing customer experience is sort of definitely for customer retention, and maybe indirectly it can help in your customer acquisition also. So my question to you, Lalit, is how do you manage to compliances? How is this management to compliances connected to data privacy and enhanced customer experience? Because data privacy is a challenge in this overall customer experience enhancement, especially when everything is going digital. So how this compliance with this data privacy thing is being looked after, Lalit?
Yeah. I just want to tell, see, now in NBFC, the complexity and digital innovations, the process complexity is huge. Same time, we have also increasing the pressure on NBFC regulators also. We need to comply. There are, as you said, data privacy, then all these details what we are getting from as a NBFC, we are lending to customer. First of all these data, see, I am saying EKYC data and customer demographic data, we always needs to adhere. Now earlier what it was happening, physical copies and all, now it is not like that. We are into digital and pandemic situation, customer is in their place only. We are making video KYC and eKYC, so that getting their information, keeping in our system, ensuring that the data is protected and restricted, only given access to that uh, only for our internal users. And as this regulatory and technology also advanced, what we are having, there are so many technology which happen for customer. As you said, that this is making also very important to get very good customer experience. How it is does, because there are technologies now coming, AI, ML, all these, which new technology helping me to giving the better customer experience from my existing data and what customer needs, making them enable nothing going anywhere, they can access my accounts. Same time also, they have, there are self services, WhatsApp chatbot. Okay, so these are the things giving customer experience. We can cross sell, upsell, all these, making customer enable, sitting at their own home and sitting their place, they can, like, these are all the services now. So making computation to my other partners and all, we used to give the technology which is coming now. As I said, it enables to make customer more experience, and same time also making organization to provide better services which customer wants. As you said, the data privacy, there are so many challenges in digital innovations are there. However, there are challenges also for operational risk. Then you can see the digital data protections. Then uh, I'm just telling what are the technologies. Like, we have a lot of technologies we have implemented, like as you said, the data protection of customers, DLP. There are so many tools are there. Okay, so with that we are getting giving customer experience. However, the regulatory compliance of the eKYC and data privacy, you are ensuring through technology only. So the technology has been advanced more, which better adoption, making my customer experience and balancing also information security. Both has been doing. Business is having challenges to growth, but at the same time also regulator and compliance is happening.
Thank you. So you have sort of mentioned about not just enhancing the customer experience, but even opening newer opportunities to cross sell and upsell. I'll next come to you, Vivek. And my question to you is related to we are increasingly seeing even this cyber security part, uh, which is in this digital compliances, one of the critical aspects. And we have seen a lot of transgressions happening, a lot of frauds have happened. So when as NBFCs are or NBFCs or even other financial services organizations are catering to these compliances, how critical is the cybersecurity aspect and the different digital solutions you are adopting to secure yourselves? How are they sort of conforming with those compliances? Vivek.
Thank you, Rajneesh, for that question. It was really heartening to hear the other panelists as well, including Sunder, Dhanasekaran, and Lalit. I think it's a very pertinent question that you're asking today on what is the risk, and I think most of the panelists also touched upon the fact that technology is providing different kind of solutions to our consumers, and as the status quo is changing and the processes are changing, uh, it's also leading to challenges, right? Which could be with respect to the risk framework that we already have adopted, or as you mentioned, to cybersecurity risks that we have, because most of our transactions have now turned virtual. Some of the panelists talked about video KYC as a requirement. Now, if you look at it in a video KYC transaction, while the RBI now allows for it, there are a few challenges that one needs to be aware of. For example, if you're storing your videos of the customers that you have and you're taking them to cloud for storage, what is the best method of storing them so that the data remains inaccessible to other players or it is not vulnerable to any attacks? Right? Similarly, if you have chatbots and you have portals to be able to self-service your consumers, what are some of the tools that you will put? Do you have a web application firewall that's in place and have the highest standards of security? Do you have a cloud security framework? A lot of the organization are using CASB as one of the frameworks to be able to take care of risks that could emerge from having data and transactions being done through a cloud framework. Similarly, I think Lalit touched upon data loss prevention. I think it's a very important thing. While people are accessing internet, whether it's employees or consumers, there could be a lot of times that data could leak within the organization as well. So, are the right data loss prevention measures in place? So, some of these are very key tools that each of the organizations will now need to put if they are having a digital transformation roadmap. And if the roadmap is only talking about benefits, then it's an incomplete roadmap. It has to talk about what are the regulatory needs, what are the compliance requirements, and make sure that all of those are heard and taken care of into their frameworks when they are doing the digitalization. I think before I end, I just want to mention while the environment changes, virtualization has increased, post COVID new normal has led to more digitalization, and I think that will continue as a trend. The basic pillars of risk management will remain the same, and this is applicable across cyber or otherwise. Any risk basically constitutes of three broad parameters. First one is around the probability of that event happening. What is the probability that this will actually happen? The second one is if the event actually happens, what is going to be the severity? Is it going to lead to some transactions being blocked? Is it going to stop the complete business? What is the severity of the failure that could happen? And third is if the event happens, are you going to how fast you're going to detect that event and mitigate it? So a combination of probability of occurrence, severity of the event happening, and detectability of the event Together will give you a risk score. That risk score will help you understand what are your top risks, and then you can put your mitigation strategies, and how you fill those gaps, and how that will evolve over a period of time as you put in new digitalization into your framework. I think those will remain the standard pillars, and as long as possible, one should try for what we call as pokayoke. It's a Japanese word for foolproofing. Never even allow the process to have a risk. So instead of looking at cures, how do you make sure that there are sustainable controls that are being put into place using technology that can actually help you mitigate the risk upfront? So I think these are some of the standard principles that one needs to follow, I think, in any of the risk management, and I think that will help you meet the compliance requirements in an evolving environment. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Vivek. That was a very extensive explanation. I'll come back to you, Dhanasekaran, with the question. Compliance again, we have a lot of standards framework or Basel standards, or on the other hand, a lot of the financial transactions now are beyond geographical boundaries. So they are, if I may say, global transactions, and they would be conforming to a lot of global norms. Different countries will have different financial norms, and in many cases, the financial organizations have to follow many of these norms, since many of the transactions are happening across boundaries. So, in this situation, how do digital technologies help in sort of a synchronization of um, managing to compliances globally? How do digital technologies help?
Okay. See, fortunately, we are NBFCs, and then we are licensed to handle only the Indian customer. So that helps us to away from the troubles of handling the overseas customer. However, even if we handle a domestic customer, that also we are exposed and then associated with various operational risk, and then market risk, demographic, and then customer risk. So the proper risk management methodologies, frameworks, that helps us to identify the potential risk in first place, so that we can able to prepare some kind of a mitigation plans, and we can come up with a better compliance solutions to be deployed. And in this current digital era, a lot of digital technologies are available to handle these kind of things. You see, in one way, earlier, if we receive a KYC document, and there is no way for us to validate, to find out the genuineness of the original KYC document. Right now, various APIs, real-time APIs are available to validate and check the genuineness of the KYC document almost within a couple of seconds time frame. So these kind of things helps to address the risk, as well as helps us to follow the compliance part also. We also follow the RBI's regulations and then compliance. So most of the regulations and compliance, digital technologies make it life easier for us to comply with it by adapting to the right technology and then the provider.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Rajneesh.
Yeah, thanks. Lalit, my question is again, as we look at even NBFCs are acquiring newer customers, and the customers can be both B2C as well as B2B customers. And we know India is a vast country. India itself has multiple geographies. Beyond the metros and the tier one cities, there are tier two cities or smaller towns. And lot of smaller or mid-size or SME organizations, or people who are not so tech savvy in the B2C circumstances. So when you are looking at acquiring new customers, be it in the B2C front or B2B front, what are the challenges, since not the technology standard or savviness is not uniform across the country? what are the challenges you are facing in acquiring those customers, and at the same time managing, you have to manage with those compliances. So what are the challenges there, and how can technologies help?
Yes. See, as you said correctly, that in the rural area, specifically in the rural, see, as a our company Orange Retail Finance, so we are into rural area where we focus to the rural. In south, we are the number one. In north, we are the number two. So, of two-wheeler and loan against property. Okay. So most of the business is in two-wheeler. In this case, the challenge, as you said, there are challenges, but innovations in digital platform and technologies which is helping us, and we empower to customer for this financial inclusions. Okay, so what is happening, we did, there are now like neo banking and digital innovations. With that, see, we have created mobile app only. In this app, the onboarding, again the payment system, then KYC compliance, verifications, technology is there to help for eKYC. Then there are technology now, what we are doing, the online eKYC, which is much more efficient, and also the making eKYC and Aadhaar Vault, which is ensuring the security part. Same time, compliance also, putting the compliance of it is regulated by RBI, the compliance of each customer documents, KYC documents, it is in place, and it is also secured with, as I said, that the data in application front, in cloud, all the cloud security here, application also security, ensure that the compliance, and it is only to customer has given his uh, go ahead to keep the data into the privacy that we kept through severe, there are several technologies what is happened in digital, the digital KYC, then digital payment gateway, then what you do in every mobile, even also mobile which is not in the ground, you will not be find it out, all is Android. Even also we are making payment system through also this simple mobile, which is only through normal mobile also, it is not Android mobile, still that also user enabled to give the payment to us. So in that case, the functionality and for the making to user, that's what I said, the customer is king now, he is having experience, putting all these, his experience and also deliverable of business deliverable, we are putting to the customer at the rural end. So rural is our focus, and we as a fintech, see, we are into NBFC, but we are into a really fintech company. So making all the important of compliance and the operations, there are risks, I'm telling, operational risk, then IT risk, then my compliance risk, all has been identified before going to live of any of the system and process. We understood and make it compliance as required by regulators. So the reach is to rural, ensure the services as desired. It is not non less than the what is happening in urban areas. Okay, in the city, in A class, B class city, same services we are also providing to them, but in different way. What is happening? Whichever the method they want to use, whether it is Android, whether it is normal phone, but we are able to reach, and we are also making the AI and ML to understand the fraud detections. So there are chances, lot of risk is there. I said that fraud detection and other things is there. However, we compliance to through technology. It is happening through technology only. There is no other things. Technology is the main source to ensure all compliance. It is heavily helping us to do that.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Vivek, I'll come to you. My question is, we are talking about compliances, and we are talking about the regulators who are always ever active. My question is, and we are seeing newer instruments within BFSI emerging, things like neobanks, insurtechs, they are emerging, and where the, if I may say, the compliance fast evolving, changing compliance requirements, and the regulators also need to keep up pace with that. So my question is, how have the conversations of the NBFCs or financial services companies with the regulators changing? How are those conversations fundamentally changed, and what are the role of technologies in that change, Vivek?
Thanks, Rajneesh. Again, an interesting question on how things are evolving, and you're right. There's always this catch up. Technology, as is the cause for a lot of convenience and a lot of transaction modes that have become much more evolved, and thereby it's also bringing its own challenges. As you would, again appreciate, I think our regulator has been very active, and they have been making changes to the compliance requirements on a regular basis. And that's the key about how the conversations, because whenever there's a regulatory change, each of the banking and or the NBFC organization basically will then need to catch up and make sure that they are making these changes at their end as well. Now this sometimes the organizations are able to proactively manage because they feel the need to do it themselves. Sometimes these have come up as changes which are more stricter than what the organization would anticipate. So then, those conversations was largely decide upon having an action plan. I think even the regulator understands, and I think has been very accommodative in terms of how you're going to achieve the compliance that is being recommended by us. And hence, I think there's a very respectful conversation that keeps happening, and we do share our plans with the regulators on a regular basis on how we intend to do it. And regulator in turn helps us by telling us, what are some of the changes that we need to make immediately, and what is it that can actually wait over a period of time. So I think that healthy conversation keeps happening, and that leads to changes from our end as well. How we actually make sure that whatever comes our way in terms of this changing environment gets adopted in the best of fashions. We have, a kind of a mantra that I want to just quickly share. We have a framework called the SACRED framework for compliance regulation. SACRED is like an acronym. I mean, we all know the meaning of the word, but it's an acronym which stands for, S stands for stakeholders. Identify all your stakeholders, whether it's the regulatory requirements, whether it's your end consumer who's going to adopt the technology, whether it's the internal organization, whether it's the employees, who are the stakeholders and what are the requirements. So before you're developing or deploying something, you need to do that step. Second is A, which stands for applying a single framework. Do not have different frameworks for different types or parts of the transaction. Apply a single framework to the overall value chain. C stands for company matters and governance. Always have a boundary between the two so that they don't conflict, and that merging of interest do not happen. So C stands for making sure the company matters are and the governance are separated out. R is always have a real-time approach, because in today's world, when the transactions are happening through API integrations and everything is real time, all your alerts, all your regulatory requirements that you need to meet or reporting that needs to happen, for that trigger should be real time, right? That is R. E stands for end-to-end coverage. Again, let's not look at the process as pieces of information. Look at it from end to end, where it starts from you maybe prospecting a customer to actually the end of life of a customer on your account, if there is something like that, in terms of a loan or something. And D stands for making it detectable and measurable, because everything that you do if you're going to actually measure it and make it objective, you'll be able to take action. You'll be able to find the gaps. So that sacred framework for us really helps us evolve and take care of any changing regulations that come our way, and make sure that all the stakeholders are aligned and we have a very good response to anything that we need to navigate through.
Thanks, Vivek. That sacred is we can look at it as a sort of a holy grail there. I'll come to the last round now, walk through all the panelists, starting with Dhanasekaran. What I would like to ask is we do a little bit of crystal grazing, maybe for the next 4 to 6 quarters, next maybe 18 months, 12 to 18 months. So, in the next 12 to 18 months, from a BFSI perspective, where do you see, what do you expect to be the biggest trends in compliance management, and how are how are technologies going to help? One area could be even cryptocurrency. We don't know. It's still ambiguous whether that option would become mainstream. But other than that, overall for compliance management, what do you expect to be the most critical trends in the next 12 to 18 months?
Okay, I am foreseeing the adaptation of the digital contracts, blockchain based. So people will go for a blockchain based contract, so that the exchange of the documentation from between various entities, starting from a buyer or supplier to the banking industry. So that will ensure the authentication of the documentation, and that will help to speed up a lot of financial transactions. For example, for any kind of invoice discounting or capital loans. So those are the areas and the LCs. So these kind of technologies, really I am foreseeing that will set the trend, and it will we can see a lot of traction in this area. Thank you.
Thank you. Lalit, I'll come to you. What, according to you, are the critical trends in compliance over the next 1 to 1.5 years?
Yeah, actually, see, the critical trends will be, as you said, that the cryptocurrency, then this is also the new regulation on data privacy, which is also supposed to come. It is in the draft mode only, so it is supposed to be coming. Second is, since the digital innovations, everything is going on in the security angle also, so many the you have seen that violations and the data breach is happening. Okay, looking to this pandemic, so the regulator and RBI compliance is making, they are now more into cyber security. They are announcing the uh, new policies and process for the compliance, and also informing all the stakeholders, be aware of this. It should be not reactive, it should be proactive. So the security compliance adherence through digital, we are doing that. They are also making lot of new circulars, and they are keeping us informed that I am saying the new whatever malware and other attacks is happening across the country. So they are keeping us informed to everyone, was to adapt technology, ensure full before not, it should be proactive. You ensure your environment, whether it is on-prem, hybrid cloud, or in cloud, okay, or virtual. So the regulator is behind us. They are also helping us to making it was, you have to make your compliance of your environment, ensure that this incident is happened in these are the incident happened recently, make us your protection from your end, give the compliance to us that it has been protected at your end. That's the things. Regulator helping us more compliance and making us more agile to see that my environment is protected also through solutions we are implementing.
Thank you. Vivek, the same question to you. Your critical, a little bit of crystal gazing. What do you expect to be the critical compliance trends in the next 6 quarters, maybe?
Yeah, I think crystal ball gazing is always interesting, right? It gives you a free area to actually just look at and think about what could happen in future. But I think there are several signs that do tell us that what's going to be the emerging trend. I think the first is when we're collecting information from our consumers. I think that's going to change. It's going to change. It's already changing. I believe a lot of the data will be available with us before you even reach out to the customer, and whatever data needs to be collected will be done very efficiently. So things like QR codes will give us quick data points, and automatically our forms will get filled. Social media data, which is available for our consumers, any other data which is there with our bureaus, etc., is already flowing with us. So a lot of the data collection, I think, is going to get reduced and will be always available with the organizations. And that's going to be a change in terms of acquiring a consumer altogether. Second part is unstructured data. I think right now we believe in a lot of structured data coming our way. We look at other unstructured data, which can be further mined and used as intelligence within the companies, which can actually help us give inputs to our scorecards or algorithms that we have built in, and that will help us build a very strong portfolio. So I think AI and machine learning, which is already getting utilized in many of the companies, will get further strengthened. One thing that I think people realized when they had built their scorecards and algorithms in the COVID environment was they had not taken into account the shock that an economy can go through when a lockdown kind of a situation happens, which now they have realized. So what they now feel is that the scorecard needs to learn on its own. It can't be a static scorecard. The algorithm needs to keep evolving. There has to be a process to look at whether my algorithm is in line with the market environment. So I think that process will now quickly get in, and AI will actually become much more in vogue in terms of self-learning. In terms of regulatory reporting, I think what important thing is RPA, robotics process automation, will become the order of the day, and a lot of the reporting will move to bots, because bots will make it very quick. It will make it error free, and you don't need to integrate your system. So if you have three systems that you have to get your data from, the bot will actually, like a human, get the data from all the three systems, massage the data, put it into the right format, and then give it to you. So you don't really have to create all those regulatory reports that you might need to do in an environment that is today. So bots, and especially cognitive bots, are going to be the order of the day. And finally, I think what the need of the hour is faster go to market, and hence a lot of the third party integrations will continue to evolve. A lot of these fintech and insurtech companies will continue to prosper, and they will partner with mainstream organizations to strengthen their frameworks, and also make sure that they move quickly within the market. So that part, I think, will keep moving and gaining more traction. Some of the organizations will also come with API orchestration services. So which is not like you do API for every kind of integration you need to do, but you do an end-to-end integration by having an API wrapper over your overall process. So I think some of these, so just to summarize, AI and machine learning will become much more in vogue. Bots will become cognitive and take care of your repetitive processes. Third-party integrations will basically help you move faster to the market, and customer information collection will become much lesser and be much more OCR based, rather than you actually going to the customer and collecting information from them. So these are the four things that I believe will be very transformative.
Thanks. So, summing up a very interesting discussion, we talked about the role of the regulator and the compliance and technologies that are being used for the compliance management. We talked about the evolution of standard operating procedures. We talked on the data privacy aspect and the cybersecurity aspect, and we did a little bit of forward-looking, future-looking, where the focus was on customer information collection, on even things like bots to be used to enhance customer experience. Overall, it has been an interesting and interactive discussion. So, before we conclude it on behalf of APAC, we would like to hand over digital certificate to each of the panelists here. The physical copy of this certificate, our team will get in touch with you for your home address and send it along with a small document. But now, here I'll just hand over the digital certificates. So, can we have the certificates now? Yeah, SV Sunder Krishnan, he just logged off. So, congratulations to Sunder. Can we have the next one? Dhanasekaran Sivaraj, for his pioneering role in innovation and technology leadership in BFSI. Congratulations, Dhanasekaran.
Thank you very much.
Lalit Rout, again for his pioneering role in innovation and technology leadership in BFSI. Congratulations, Lalit.
Thank you. Thank you, Ji. Thank you.
Vivek Madan, pioneering role in innovation and technology leadership in BFSI. Congratulations, Vivek.
Thank you, Rajneesh, and thanks to the entire APAC News Network and all the partners in this exercise. Thank you so much.
Thanks. And again, thanking all the panelists for making the interesting discussion. Wishing all of you have a good day. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank
Thank
you.
you all.